Verse 22. And I commanded that the Levites, that they should cleanse themselves, and they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of your mercy. And how we end up getting into these things is the Holy Convocation services have gotten to be more about motivational speaking than actually dealing with what's written in this book. Now, the motivational speakers, man, they make a ton of money. You know, you have some televangelists, man, you can watch their show for a complete hour and they smile the whole time. I mean, this dude is, you never even see the Bible. They won't say anything that will upset people because people who are shaken don't give as much money. So they need the people to be very, very happy so that they can continue giving this money. Now, but you deal with this motivational speech. You may feel good, and it may be a decent thing, but understand these things that we're reading about what's going to happen and what's going to be brought forth to man. We're talking about some serious events. We're talking about some serious things that are going to come upon man. And you don't prepare a man for a fight by just, giving him a motivational speech. Now, if you a prize fighter and you got to fight and you got to go fight Mike Tyson. Now, I'm just going, I ain't going to train you now. I ain't going to teach you how to punch. I'm just going to whisper in your ear, you are the greatest. You can do all things through Christ. You are powerful. You are able to, if you have the faith of a grain of a mustard seed, you should be able to do this and the mountain should move, right? All that's going to make you feel absolutely wonderful. You're going to be like, yes, I can conquer the world until the day Mike Tyson hits you in your face and it feel like a truck just hit you, right? You felt good, but you were not trained for this fight. Now, you trying to say, did anybody get the license plate of that truck that hit me? No, the truck has got them shorts on. That's the truck. That's the truck that hit you, right? So that motivational speech did not prepare. You cannot have a false defense for a real war. It is not going to work. So there's a whole lot of people that feel good and they feel confident until they get punched in the face. And Yahweh is about to hit man where it hurt. And if you don't have the spirit here, if you're not dealing with these things to spiritually prepare yourself, you're going to have that fake defense up, and it ain't going to work against Lucifer. Lucifer is an angel. Do you understand that? Lucifer is, when Yahshua went through his thing, he said, the prince of this earth cometh, and he has no part in me. Do you understand he has dominion over this place? You think you finna fight him with a there are certain fights you can talk your way out. You can woof up. Yeah, what's up, bro? Yeah, what's up? That only works for the guy who's scared to fight. All that wolf talking, that don't work for a soldier. The guy who had already said before he left the house, if I die today, I don't care. That wolf ticket won't work on him. He has already decided in his heart that the day is the day he gonna die. And when you run up against him, you can run that motivational speech if you want to, but you better be ready to dance. Believe that. Let's go to John chapter 10. Now, when you talk about these things and being prepared and trying to get prepared for what Yahweh is about to bring on the earth, Mother Lael wrote a article that was called Earth-Shaking Faith, and we actually have it on the website. If you look under, I think it's under the print section, and all the way to the bottom on the print section. And Yahweh gives his servants things to do. Now, this is, I think, over a year ago that this writing was originally done. Now, ever since these earthquakes have happened, everything that you're seeing on the news, they're showing this ring of fire, which is where all of these earthquakes are happening. And along that, around the start of, around the left side or whatever, if you're looking right in front of it, that ring of fire, you have where these things are starting in Indonesia, all of those things. But on this other side is right around California. Well, that ring of fire graphic was actually placed on the front cover of this earth-shaking faith article, how Yahweh will actually step back and allow the adversary, the devil, to come against you, to test you. This sister had put together that writing. They took the graphic of the ring of fire, took it off, turned it in some kind of black blob, and put it on the back of the page. Yahweh does things to set his servants and get them ready. That thing Yahweh had given us a year ago. Now that very graphic that was taken off of that writing before, when we were dealing in another situation, that very graphic I have now seen several times on TV. They're showing it several times a day on each station, in each city, in each state, in each country. The very graphic that Yahweh had put on the front of that writing, they took off, and now we're seeing it all across the news. This is what Yahweh does to get you ready. Yahweh put that one graphic, and if the people had looked at that for a year, Yahweh, remember what it says, I don't do nothing unless I tell my servants, the prophets, first. This is how Yahweh gets you ready. You see this thing, ring of fire? It was the first time I had ever seen it. When she showed it to me, I ain't never seen no ring of fire. I don't deal with no volcano and earthquake, brother. You know what I'm saying? It's a bit much for me. I'll look at it, but as I started looking at it, I said, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Year later, I keep seeing this same graphic on TV every 5 minutes. So it lets you know that the changing of even the slight things of the works that Yahweh has given us is a great offense, and you better fight for it. You better fight for it. Yahweh expects you to fight for it. John chapter 10 and verse 1. And we'll see why you're going to have to fight for it. John 10, verse 1, and we're going to go through verse 16. Yes, yes, I say unto you, he that enters not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. All right, you have to look at, how did a man get to be the shepherd of a sheepfold? Did he enter in through the door? See, Yahshua the door. If he didn't enter in truth and in righteousness and dealing with what's written in this book, he came in some other way. The same as a thief and a robber. Okay, we have to consider these things when we look at these things. Verse 2, and the Gentiles were grafted in our tree, but they were not given the authority to teach. So if he didn't come through Yahshua, how did they get in? How did they become, leaders of these organizations? And an Israelite did not teach them. See, Saul was the Israelite that set up all those other things. So if they have these organizations, where's their Israelite? So now we have Israel, who don't know that they're Israel, going to a school that is set up by Gentiles who have no authorization to teach. So how did they come into the door of the sheepfold? They came in through some other way. They didn't get in by the door. Right. Verse 2. But he that enters in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice. And he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. This is his voice here. These books that we're reading, this is his voice. Okay? There are certain people you can read exactly what it say, and they can't hear it. And we wonder why, and sometimes you have to be patient with people, because sometimes they have to hear it a couple of times before they can really hear it. But this is his voice. My sheep hear my voice. You hear this word, man. Verse 4. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And the stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. This parable spake Yahshua unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then said Yahshua unto them again, yes, yes, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enters in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. Now, of course, you know what'll happen there, and people take that and deal absolutely nothing but prosperity. This is where all of a sudden everybody's supposed to be rich, and a man, you know, that's leading the congregation should have a $400,000 car and a helicopter pad, right? Because of this one line. Verse 11, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. This is what's supposed to happen. But he that is a hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. And the wolf catches them and scatters the sheep. And that is exactly what has happened to the children of Israel. They got scattered because the hireling seen trouble, and the hireling got on their ox and drove to the house. That's what a hireling will sit right there and know that the wolf is coming and get right in on their little ox or their little car, crank it up and drive off and let the sheep get scattered by that wolf. That's not a shepherd. A shepherd will give his life for the sheep. He will sit there and fight the whole room if he got it, for righteousness' sake. Verse 13. The hireling flees because he is an hireling and cares not for the sheep. Remember that same mentality. This evil hadn't happened in my house, so I ain't really going to worry about it. Right? I am the good shepherd and know my sheep and am known of mine. As the Father knows me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. So when you hear all of these messages and all they're based upon is prosperity, that shepherd is getting extremely rich, but he doesn't truly love those sheep. He's not preparing these sheep for the fight that is coming toward them. They're going to find themselves in the ring with Mike Tyson and don't know how to throw a correct punch. Verse 16, and other sheep I have, which are not out of this fold, them also I must bring. And they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Therefore does my Father love me. No, that was it right there, verse 16. Now, we've heard things said. We know that when Moses was gone, Moses went right up on the mountain. As soon as he was gone, they said, we don't know what's become of this Moses. So let us go ahead and serve these other gods. And, you know, Yahweh had charged Israel with keeping these commandments. When you receive a charge, that charge don't die because the person that gave you the charge died. Now, the commandment, the charge was given to Moshe to give to the children of Israel, but the charge came from Yahweh. But you find the same thing, and I've actually heard of these same things happening, you know, now. They say, man, don't worry about that stuff, man. That man that told you that stuff dead. And soon as, you know, my teacher died, a lot of people just figure, you know, hey, man, we ain't got to do all those works like that. We don't have to do such and such like that. That man is dead. That man wasn't Yahweh. Yahweh is not the Elohim of the dead, but the Elohim of the living. Yahweh didn't die. Your charge must continue. And if you let somebody talk you out of your charge, you'd be like one of them foolish virgins. Or one of them foolish virgins trying to talk you out of your oil. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 14. Zechariah chapter 14. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 1. Behold, the day of Yahweh comes, and your spoil shall be divided in the midst of you. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken. So we see he's talking about nations. This is not about individual churches, ladies and gentlemen. This is much bigger than your little church and your little town and your little city and your little state. He's dealing with nations. Please, let's stop being arrogant about this word. He's dealing with nations. And the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity.